What is up, YouTube? And welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! House. Guys, I got second place at DABBER'S monthly case tournament, and I won myself 4 boxes of Maze of Memories, a deck box, and these awesome DABBER'S sleeves. So big shout out to DABBER'S. Let's go ahead and jump in. I brought the infamous Live Twin Spright with a fairly standard ratio of 3 Leela, 2 Kill, and the single Frost. I do think Frost is a mandatory extender. It's an awesome search off of your power spells when you're already opened your normal summon. And speaking of those power spells, 3 copies of Sunny Snitch plus 1 secret password. So you're essentially playing 4 copies of Sunny Snitch and even more copies of Leela and or, like I said earlier, Frost if you've already opened up that normal summon. 3 copies of Blue, 3 copies of Jet. This is fairly standard, your Monster Searcher and your Spell Searcher, and this is more important now more than ever because Konami decided to kill our grind game. So we need to add Gamma Burst. 1 copy of Red, 1 copy of Carrot, and 1 copy of Pixies. Pixies was insane the entire tournament, being able to out cards like Geomathemic Final Sigma in my second to last duel, and in top 16 being able to out a Dragoon. Pixies just put in way too much work. I know a lot of people have decided to cut it, but I still think it's mandatory. Three copies of Starter, fairly mandatory, and 1 Smashers and 1 Gamma Burst. Like I said earlier, Konami decided to kill our grind game when they hit Elf, so Gamma Burst does feel like a card that you need to start main decking to really close out matches. That's it for all of our engine cards. Now let's get into our non-engine. A single copy of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. Yes, I decided to main deck it. I think that at the very least, it'll be able to stunt your opponent out of the battle phase, and whenever they pass it back to you, you can go for an easy OTK. Now, our hand traps. 3 Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Ash, and 3 copies of Nibiru. These are all hand traps you can use on your opponent's turn, even if you do draw into them off of cards like Kill or even the Frost in Graveyard. You want to be able to have cards that you can use. That's why I decided not to play Imperm, and I went for hand traps like these. Okay, now our board breakers, 3 copies of Book of Eclipse, which was insane the entire tournament because of all those cash matchups, and 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Yes, you need to start main decking this card because of decks like Trap Tricks and like Labyrinth. Those decks, uninterrupted, put up some really oppressive boards, and being able to stunt them out of all that advantage that they gain is just way too powerful. Now moving on to the extra deck. 3 copies of Evil Twin Kill and 2 copies of Leela. I know this is fairly standard, though I will admit that I did miss the 3rd Leela, but unfortunately that extra deck space is just way too tight to fit the 3rd one. A single copy of Trouble Sunny. You don't find yourself going into it too often since you are locking yourself into level rank and link 2s to avoid getting hit by Nibiru, but whenever you do put this up, there's no way you don't push for game. Lingaribo, not only for your own Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, but for any sort of deck, cough cough cash, that is gonna be putting Nightmare Corruptor Ibli on your field. Muckracker from the Underworld, essentially your baby Trouble Sunny. This is the card you'll be going into since you lock yourself into level rank and link 2s to be able to revive back one of your evil twins. 2 copies of Gigantic Spright. You really do want to play the 3rd one, but like I said before, there really isn't enough space in the extra deck to find the slot for the 3rd one. A single copy of Gin Buster for that extra monster negate. Mannequin Cat. I will admit this is the card I probably summoned the least, though in theory it's best to play under. It's the best card to play when you get hit with D-Shifter. And I mean, you could even revive back an Ash Blossom that Cash might hit you with to special summon a card like Carrot or Red. And not only that, but clog their field so they can't play. And then our Zeus line. One copy of Ninja Shadow Mosquito, though on its own is literally insane. I gave somebody some really huge, beefy Nibiru tokens and was able to just kill them with 2 quick, simple burns of Shadow Mosquito. And of course, you don't have to use that effect. Being able to just overlay for Downerd and then overlay for Zeus is just way too good, especially against decks like Trap Tricks that rely on board presence. Now, the side deck, I did play Gamma, which was absolutely insane. It kept me from getting hit with the Gimmick Puppet line because I was able to hit the Fusion Monster that they summoned. And then, you know, they don't have a Fusion Monster to tribute off, and they just had to pass on an empty field, and I just blew them out. Lancia for the last hand trap I play in my side deck. This card was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to find the space for the third one. Hitting this on the Cash matchup really makes sure that they don't start locking any zones, and they're gonna have to rely mostly on the main deck monsters, which are a lot easier to out than cards like, of course, a Rise Heart or Shangri-La. Then some back row disruption, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Cosmic Cyclone. I did it again where I went with 1 Harpies and 2 Cyclone, and I'm gonna say it again, I really, really wish this was the 3rd Cyclone. Cyclone is just insane this format, especially against the Runic matchup. 1 Change of Heart and 2 Enemy Controller. These cards were absolutely insane. I love specifically this card. If this card came above anything other than 1, I think Konami would be making a huge mistake. I think even at 1, this card is a mistake. Won me every single game I saw it, so what can I say? Just absolutely broken. And the last card in our side deck, 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier, the most oppressive lingering floodgate the game has ever seen. And I mean, the results speak for themselves. Being able to get 2nd place at such a large tournament, this card really, really carried. All right, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for checking back in with Yu-Gi-Oh! House, and peace.